Stanley, Scuba, Sailing, and Adventures. Scuba diving, the Turks and Caicos dive site, Brandywine. The Brandywine dive site is located off the West Caicos Island. It ranges in depth from 45 to 110 feet. As soon as we got in the water, I had this reef shark swim directly at me. This made for some great photographs. Look at that approach. A very close pass. Great way to start the second dive on this site. I was hoping we'd have some more shark encounters, as the first dive on this site we had plenty. Here you can see a couple more reef sharks. 3 in fact. To say there was a lot of shark activity on this trip would be a gross understatement. I think perhaps the sharks were attracted to the sound that my flashes from my camera rig made when they were charging. You know, after the flash has been executed, then there's a sound that it makes as the charge rebuilds. Perhaps it was my imagination, but it seemed like the sharks were drawn to the camera. I didn't notice the sharks passing as close to any of the other divers. As I mentioned, this was the second dive on this site. In the previous video for this dive site, I gave a much more detailed description of the site. So if you're interested in that, you can refer back to the other video. This would end up being one of my favorite dive sites on this trip, probably because of all the sharks. Although we would have plenty of other shark encounters on the other dive sites too. In regard to the dive itself, the dive started at 10:36 in the morning and lasted just about 57 minutes. My computer recorded an average depth of 43 feet, a maximum depth of 64 feet. A comfortable average water temperature of about 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Although there was a lot going on the site, a lot of other fish and things to see, it was really hard for me not to focus on the sharks. I love watching the sharks swim, and of course having the opportunity to get some pictures of the sharks, especially when they were passing so closely by. Here's a Nassau grouper. You can easily tell that's a Nassau grouper by the black saddle spot on the base of its tail. Again, hard not to be distracted by the sharks. I looked up and saw one swimming away, and look over to the left here and I see one swimming directly at me. It's a little hard to see in the video here, but you'll see as he gets closer, he's swimming directly at me. And then he'll break off here at the last minute. But again, made for some great photographs. I love when they swim right at you. And here, that's a fairly close pass. See this other diver pulling his legs up away from the shark. Here we have another head-on pass from another reef shark. This was on top of the reef too, so not on the wall, so I had plenty of sunlight. So I think the photographs, in my opinion, turned out really good. At this point, the sharks were passing fairly close to the entire group. You can see here people just hanging out watching the show as the sharks swim by. I'm not sure how many sharks we actually saw on this dive. I know the sharks, some of the same sharks were making multiple passes, but I know at one point in time I saw at least 3 sharks at the same time. This grouper seems to be hiding out. I don't know if it's from me or the sharks, but it's kind of tucked in this sponge. I believe this is a coney, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, but I believe it's in the brown color phase, so not quite fully mature. There are 2 little spots just in front of the tail, and that's why I think that's a coney. Let me know if you think it's something else. Of course, hard to focus when there's so many sharks about. Here's another shark. Somebody do a count and let me know how many sharks there are in this video. Again, being on top of the reef with these sharks with so much sunlight and about 40 feet of water, the photography opportunities were spectacular. Here we have a couple of angelfish. These look like French angelfish to me, which range in size from 10 to 14 inches, reaching a maximum of 18 inches, and are found in depths of 15 to 80 feet of water. Again, another shark, and here we go, a direct swim, and then he comes back again. What a spectacular encounter. I really prefer to have shark encounters like this, where it's just natural, they're just swimming, cruising the reef, rather than the shark feeding or baiting type of dives. Here you can see there's the rest of the group. These sharks are not extremely large. Reef sharks range in size from 5 to 8 feet and can reach a maximum of about 10 feet. I think most of the sharks we saw on this site, and probably all week, were between 5 and 8 feet. So they're a pretty good size for reef sharks. And I would say some of these were at least 8 feet. The guidance for reef sharks in the reef identification book indicates that they're wary of divers unless you're spearfishing, but obviously we had some pretty close passes from these reef sharks. I believe this is a spot fin burrfish. They look extremely similar to the porcupine fish in my opinion, but fairly confident this is a spot fin burrfish. I actually went back to my photographs and you can see those out on Facebook, but I read some other descriptions and tips for telling them apart, and someone mentioned that the spot fin burrfish, the barbs are always present, and on the porcupine fish they're not unless it's irritating. Anyway, as always, let me know what you think. The spot fin burrfish range in size from 8 to 12 inches, reaching a maximum of about 14 inches, and they're usually found in depths of water ranging from 10 to 90 feet. The light was really good right here, and I got a couple of nice photographs, and I thought I'd follow my little spot fin burrfish friend around for a few minutes and try and get a couple more pictures. I was trying to be patient and hope that he would come back out into the sunlight so I could get a couple more pictures. And he was just on the other side of this rock, but in the shadows. As I was waiting and he turned around, this stoplight parrotfish came swimming out. The stoplight parrotfish looks very similar to the yellow-tailed parrotfish in my opinion, but the stoplight parrotfish has that bright yellow spot at the upper corner of the gill cover. Still waiting for that spotted burrfish to reappear. And another way I think that makes it easy, well, maybe not easy, To tell the spot fin burrfish from the porcupine fish is the dorsal fin. The dorsal fin on the spotted burrfish is a little different shaped. It's more like a fan than that on the porcupine fish. When I look down here on previewing the pictures on my camera, and then I decided to take a look around the other side and see if he was still hanging around. I guess he decided that was enough for today, and you could see him headed off here into the distance. At least that's what it signaled to me, and I wasn't about to follow him. I think at that point it would be unpleasant for both of us. Instead, I thought I'd grab a couple pictures here of this parrotfish. I love their colors. I glance up and there's another shark swimming out of the blue directly toward me. I really wonder how many sharks there are in this video and how many times I've said shark in this video. What a great dive. And yet another shark and another head-on experience, at least for a few seconds, long enough to get some video and photographs. Spectacular. And we kept having these shark experiences for the remainder of the dive. There's another shark. And another shark encounter. And another shark encounter. At this point, it was getting near the end of the dive and time for our dive group to start heading up. However, that didn't mean there wasn't time for me to drop back down and grab one more shark shot. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.